Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host Mike Lepre here with my co-host Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This week we're finally reached the last week of the season, and really we're just going to do a recap of the postseason picture and some general news updates regarding some injuries and some managerial changes. So let's get right into it with number one. So how does the postseason look going into the final week of the season? The AL is all but locked up as the Mariners are the closest team to the playoffs, and it would take a Herculean effort to leapfrog either the Indians or the Blue Jays at this point. The NL, on the other hand, is still wide open, as the Brewers and Giants are tied with the Reds for the last wildcard spot, and the Phillies are barely hanging on to the 7th spot. Considering all this, and the fact that only 2 NL teams, as of recording this, have clinched a playoff spot. Now, obviously, by the time this goes live, I'm sure we might see some more clinches from teams like the Cubs and others. But as of right now, we only got the Padres and Dodgers are locked in the NL. So really, the AL is I think there's 5 teams locked in over there. There's really you kind of know what you're getting as long as the seeding kind of stays similar. But the NL is really up for grabs. I mean, who knows by the time that the season's over, the Giants and the Brewers could be the 2 wildcard teams. I don't know. Especially with the Phillies having some questions with Harper now. So I mean, it's the NL's, like I've said in our other predictions episode with the playoffs. The NL's more exciting to me because the AL's, you kind of know what you're getting. It's just what are the games going to look like. So I don't know. What are you thinking of how we're looking coming into the final stretch here?
Well, I think the NL's open still, as you said. The AL's kind of closed, unless they do some sort of historic collapse.
Literally.
But I think the NL, I think the Reds are red hot, and I'm not going to turn away from them now. I thought they were going to be good starting the year, so I think the Reds make a wild card spot. They make the 8th seed. They play the Dodgers. They knock the Dodgers out first round, and we go on about our business.
Bold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any other team. I think the Brewers aren't very good. I don't know how the Giants have got as many wins as they got.
I know.
I think the Phillies have some talent.
Mm-hmm.
They are holding the spot, so I think they'll hang on to something. And I think the Reds are red hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they got hot at the right time. So let's see how far they can carry it. But I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've been talking up the Reds all season, so I mean, they got the pitching core, they got a pretty good bullpen, and they got a good lineup. I just don't know why it took them this long to. I guess that's the problem with the 60-game season. Is sometimes it takes a little bit of time for them to get off the schneid, But yeah, the Brewers and the Giants. It would be cool if you saw like a duke it out to the end. But I don't know if they're really the playoff teams as compared to the Reds and Phillies. They feel like more complete playoff teams to me. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep an eye on all those teams, and I think you kind of know for the most part your top 5, top 6 NL teams at this point. You really don't have to worry about too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Even shout out to the Marlins, by the way. We're not even talking about them. They're like the 5 or 6 seed or something, which is insane. All right, number 2. The current Tigers manager, Ron Gardenhire, has retired, effective immediately, to, quote, focus on his health. Based on his most recent statements regarding retirement, which can be read on ESPN.com, it would seem that Gardenhire saw a regression in health, citing anxiety and stress as the most apparent cause. He also spoke about his wife, children, and grandchildren, who he would like to spend more time with. Obviously, it goes without saying we wish Mr. Gardenhire the best. He, at this point, is already gone. He announced it, I think Saturday was the news came out that he was gonna.
I think it was Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so he's out as a Tigers manager, legendary manager. He was with the Twins for an insanely long time. I think it was like 10 years or 8 years or something like that. He was with the Twins. Did good things over there. Tigers, unfortunately, by the time he got there, really weren't doing anything. Pretty sure he was there for all the lean years, if I'm not mistaken. But an outstanding manager, and I think he's only in his 60s. So if he ever did decide to come back, I'm sure there's a spot for him somewhere in the MLB. But yeah, it's a shame to lose him in the kind of managerial core. There's only 30 30 jobs, for an MLB manager, and he managed to get one of them pretty consistently.
Yeah, he's always been a good manager. He managed the Twins for a long time. That was Morneau and Maurer and Screwball and Dyer and Yohan Santana, a bunch of guys, Toriano, Luis Castillo. I mean, they had some good teams. He had some good players.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he also beat cancer once earlier in his...
I'm not sure. He might have.
I think he did, right? Was it when he was doing some sort of front office with the Arizona, wasn't it?
You might be right. I'm not.
Coach for Arizona or something. I think he had some sort of medical illness there too. I believe. I'm not sure though. I don't remember exactly, but I think he did have some sort of illness. But yeah, good manager. I just always remember every time, wherever he was managing, whatever they played the Yankees, he always got thrown out. Always got, especially with the Twins. Every game he got thrown out of the game. So I always remember that. But he's always a good manager. And he just, I think he, at his age and some stuff going on, it doesn't seem like he's going to be the guy there to rebuild the Tigers. So I think he was like, why? Not really, I don't want to say waste his time, but essentially waste his time.
Yeah.
I think that's where he was at.
Mm-hmm.
That's a winning team. You go, I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not a winning team. I don't think he feels like he's going to be the rebuilding manager there. So he's like, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So, good luck to him. And I'm sure he'll find some sort of baseball front office or some sort of spot with a franchise, maybe with the Twins or something, just like as a secondary role, advisor or something.
Yeah, baseball will definitely have him back if he wants to come back, and if not, I hope he enjoys retirement and enjoys his wife and his kids and his grandkids and all that. So good for him, whichever decision he makes from here on. Number 3, our old buddy Rob Manfred is in the news again. This is reportedly coming from ESPN.com, specifically Buster Olney. Rob Manfred has reportedly suggested the expanded playoff format should stay for next year and beyond, while the exact details of what that would look like are still relatively unknown. The report from ESPN states that they believe the teams would be reduced from 16. That is the consensus. This obviously caused quite the reaction from Manfred's office, as well as other baseball pundits. So not only reporters were freaking out on this, but reportedly his own team, like Manfred's own circle of people, were kind of taken aback by his suggestion. Obviously, I don't think that he even suggested the 16-team format stay, but I think that the number 12 was floated around. So you'd have 6 and 6 in each league. It would maybe be like the top 2 teams from each division, or some, I don't know what the format would be with the wild card, maybe 4 wild card teams, I guess, or 3 wild card teams. I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't like 16. I really don't. It makes sense for this season. So if they brought back 16, I wouldn't be happy, but I'd have to see it in action with 12. I would rather the playoffs be a little more rare, with real good teams to be in the playoffs. But I don't know. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Maybe increase to 10 teams or something?
I think they can. 16 teams is terrible. So Manfred, he just says things, I think, just so people talk about him or something because he's stupid. But I think maybe they could do something where maybe they do an odd number of teams, so that the number 1 seed gets some sort of bye. Maybe that's something they do. So it gives you a advantage to be the 1 seed. Maybe there's 11. Maybe 11 teams make it, and that 1 seed gets a bye right straight to the 5-game series, where they can set their rotation up. They get the days off, whatever. Something they could figure something out like that. So you do add another team in each league, or they they add 12 teams and they just do the top 2 in each division. No wild card.
Be interesting.
Yeah, but anything more, I really don't want more than. I would say the most I would really like maybe some sort of 11, like I said, with the 1 seed maybe getting a bye.
Yeah,
I like that idea. But anything more than really, I'd say 12 is the max. But maybe 11, I think, is a decent number. Adds 1 more team in each division or each conference, essentially, each league. It keeps 1 more team, in it. And that's where they should go. Otherwise, if you're gonna make 16, you might as well let them all do it and just do a tournament.
It's true.
Like a college World Series, you get a 3-game tournament the whole way through.
Yeah, because I misspoke, but right now we have 10 with the 2 wildcard teams. So if you increase it to 1 more, like you said, I wouldn't think that'd be a bad idea. Say the Yankees or the White Sox or the A's or the Rays or really any of those teams in the AL. Say they have a far and away, in a 162-game season, say they win 107 games or something. They deserve a bye for playing.
You get right to the 5-game series.
Exactly.
And that's what you fight for, because now every other team has to play a 3-game series. You slip up one time, you're out. So you're the 1 seed, you get right to the 5-game series. You get the half a week off, like an all-star break. It's not long. It's like a week off. You get like 3-4 days off. You can set your rotation. So you can pitch right up to the deadline, right up to the end of the season.
Yeah.
You can't be like, well, I don't want to pitch my ace here, because if we do win the 1 seed, or we don't win the 1 seed, I got to pitch him. You could just pitch him right up to it.
Yeah.
All that, and fight for that. So that would be something, like I said, and it would add 1 more team in each league. So you do add, and the more teams you add, the less teams are rebuild, is what their theory is. So add 1 more team in each and give a team a bye, and like every other sport essentially has a bye except basketball. But football has a sport, football has a bye, so why not do baseball have a bye?
That makes sense to me.
It keeps you away from that 3-game series.
That makes too much sense, though, is the problem for Rob Manfred. It would
he
probably
he doesn't know nothing.
he'd probably do 13 teams and increase it the other. You know what I mean?
He'll do 22 teams.
Yeah.
Makes no sense anywhere.
You have the Pirates make the playoffs.
Yeah, the Pirates in the World Series somehow. So.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all just rumor. It's all just hearsay. There's no official statement from MLB. There's no official release.
It's like saying they're gonna do a bubble city for the rest of the time for the playoffs. It's like, it's working this year. It's like, well, because it had to.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's stupid. He's as dumb as he looks. So.
Yeah, he's not making many baseball fans happy. That's for sure.
You should just ask the players. It's not hard. Ask the players what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they want, that's 75% of what your decision should be.
Mm-hmm.
Then it should be like 20% what the fans want, and it should be 5%, what his office wants, something like that.
They're the owners, know.
Because the players are who's playing, and the fans are who's making you the money. If you no fans, then you no money. No one's watching you. No one's coming to watch. No one's buying your memorabilia. Then you're making no money.
Yeah. Then what's the point?
So that's what it should be. Something like that. You can't just be like, well, let's put every team in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's
because then all the owners are happy because they're in the playoffs. And
yeah, then
they get to sell more tickets in the playoffs or whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just a one increase. I think that's perfectly reasonable. All right, move on to number 4. Some general injury news, but obviously the big one being, have we seen the last of Justin Verlander? As we previously kind of predicted a few weeks ago when he first got hurt, Verlander is going to undergo Tommy John after weeks of attempted rehab from a forearm strain. Is obviously out this season and will most likely be out all next season because it's a 12 to 14 rehab period, meaning we may not see Verlander until 2022 or ever again. It's important to note that he'd be 39 at the start of the 2022 season, so I'm unsure whether he would still be under contract with the Astros. I don't think he would be, because I think it was a 3-year deal, if I'm not mistaken. Who knows with options and all that stuff. But at 39, I think he'd be the third pitcher ever at this age with Tommy John surgery or something like that. I seen some stat from MLB Network. So, obviously Justin Verlander is one of the best. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, one of the better pitchers we've seen in our generation. And, he's still good. He's still got talent. But at the point of being 39 and coming out of a Tommy John, what more do you have to prove? Obviously the guy, kind of Tom Brady syndrome. It's like, well, I can still play. I'll go play. I don't blame him. I don't blame the guy. He's going to have money out there sitting for him. There's going to be people that want him. But, what more do you have to prove? Maybe just say, hey, it was a good career. I got a bunch of strikeouts, a bunch of wins. I got World Series. MVP.
Where did that? Maybe he comes back and shows that he could pitch on a team that doesn't cheat.
Yeah.
At 39 years old and his big mouth, maybe he comes back and is a reliever. Some sort of John Smoltz kind of thing.
It's not a bad idea.
Come out, pitch an inning or two, be a reliever, be a closer.
Yeah.
Who knows? In 2 years, maybe everyone's having openers. I don't know. Maybe
True.
he could do some sort of opener. I don't see his career being over just because you don't want to ever see an injury end someone's career. So he'll come back. I think maybe a reliever as a bullpen or something. And if he's got the arm still, maybe let him be a starter. But at the very least, you could be a bullpen guy, come out and close some games for a year or two and go on his way.
Yeah, give me all you got for an inning or two,
I think that's pretty much where he's at. But tough news for him, and every team seems like that Dusty goes to has bad luck, and pitchers get Tommy John, so that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
So, but some other injuries I want to throw out there. Nolan Arenado has a shoulder problem. So they might shut him down for the year, knowing they're 3 games out of the wild card spot. So they might shut him down for the year. Mike Clevenger missed a start. He did throw a bullpen, or he's going to throw a bullpen today. So he should be okay, they think, but he did miss a start, so that's something to keep an eye on. Bryce Harper and Jose Iglesias both left the game yesterday.
Okay.
Jose Iglesias with the Orioles, they're kind of out of it, but still playing really good this year. A name everyone kind of recognizes. So he left the game, so that's noticeable. And Harper, obviously, in the playoff hunt, left the game, I believe, with back soreness.
Yeah, that's big.
Walker Buehler's back for the Dodgers. I believe he's pitching today, or he's pitching early this week.
Yeah, big for them.
DeGrom got pulled from a start, and he's supposed to pitch, I believe, today or tomorrow. So he's back. They're still kind of in the hunt there. And the next player, Chad Pinder, he's on the verge of coming back for the A's, who the A's obviously one of the best teams in baseball, but with Matt Chapman being out for the year, Chad Pinder seems like to be a better, kind of like a bigger player. So him on the way back helps.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, other than that, there's some other injuries that go around. Like Ken Giles had Tommy John. That's a tough break for the Blue Jays and for him.
Yeah.
There's some other minor injuries. Some day-to-day guys and stuff like that. But these are most of the bigger name players and some of the guys who are kind of in the playoff hunt or in the playoffs altogether who are dealing with some injuries. And we talked about the playoff picture already. I think the NL is going to come down to. Should be exciting down the end.
Yeah.
I do think the Reds are going to take that last spot. And I think the Reds take that last spot. They beat the Dodgers in the first round and they go on their way. But the next thing I really just want to throw out there is some of the teams that are hot right now, right before the playoffs. We'll start off with the Yankees. They won 10 straight.
Yep, red hot.
They lost yesterday, so they win 10 out of the last 11.
Yeah, so.
That's pretty good. The Rays playing well. I believe they're 7-3 over the last 10.
Yep.
White Sox, believe they're 7-3 over their last 10. And then you got the Reds. I mean, obviously they got red hot. I think they're 8-2 over the last 10.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing some good baseball. Finally, they're pitching together with their hitting, which is a big thing. And the Padres continuously play well. They're one of the two teams who clinched out in the NL.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams not playing good. That includes the Blue Jays. The Yankees ran through them on their hot streak, and they have not played well since then, or through then. The Indians haven't been playing well for quite a while now. I believe this is twice they're on the cold list in 3 weeks. So
not doing great.
Not playing great. You have the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
The NL really, there's not too many teams who are playing really good or really bad. The Padres are higher up. But you get the Phillies kind of muddling, they're like 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the worst, but being in a playoff hunt and being only a half game up, they kind of got to play better.
Yeah.
Rockies another team, I think they're 4-6 over the last 10. That kind of puts them out.
Yeah.
You have one team that's just been terrible in the NL, that's the Pirates. I think they're 1-9 in their last 10. I mean, they're awful.
Yeah, they
You almost want to see a 162 game season this year to see where the Pirates record would be and where the Red Sox record would be.
Yeah.
Because they're two teams that would fight for the worst record and might lose 120 games.
Yeah, they
Bad
are.
They are.
Yeah, they're rough to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't even recommend watching it.
No,
it's terrible. That's pretty much where I'm at with some teams that are hot and some teams that are cold.
Mm-hmm.
And the one team that's unbelievably ice cold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be any surprise here then, based on what you were telling us with who's doing the best right now. Like every week it seems. I don't even know if this has changed through any of the weeks of the season, but Dodgers on the best record in the league. They're 38-16, 7.04 winning percentage. The Rays leapfrog the White Sox to the best record in the AL the last week. They're 35-19 with a 6.48 winning percentage, but the White Sox just have played one less game. They're 34-19 with a 6.42 winning percentage, so they're just that half game out. And Dodgers still on the best run differential in the league with plus 119. And the Pirates sit alone at the bottom with the worst run differential at minus 88. So,
and they lead the league in errors.
Yeah. Yep.
I believe they had 45 errors.
Yeah.
And that was a couple days ago. Over the weekend, I think they were at 45 errors. So they're not playing good defense. They're not hitting. They're not doing anything.
And really, I mean, we were talking about it before we started recording, but they're really, on paper, they're not as bad as they're playing. I mean,
they don't have a bunch of talent, but they do have some young talent.
That's what I mean. I mean, I would consider them more like, obviously, I would think they have a losing record, but
100 losses, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you look at their team, they look at about 100 loss team, just because they're young.
Yeah, that's
you don't
true.
know what you're going to get at any of these guys.
Yeah.
And Josh Bell had a great year last year, so you got to think of it. It's going to take a great year again. So he goes down a little bit. I seen them right around at least 100 losses this year.
Okay.
98, something like that. But I mean, they're on pace for, if they have 160, I mean, they're on pace for 120 losses, which is record breaking.
Yeah,
Do they
that's
look
bad.
that bad? No. Adam Frazier and Kevin Newman and Brian Reynolds and Josh Bell, got Brian Hayes coming up. I mean, Cole Tucker. No, they don't look like a 120 loss team.
No.
But around 100 losses, I wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
But this is bad.
We're going to go back and look at our predictions from early in the year and see where we sat, but I didn't think I don't think either of us thought they'd be this bad. You know,
they're not even really competitive.
No.
If they win a game, it's like wow, like that's a miracle.
I know they've showcased them on MLB Network a few times, and I watched them. And I go, what the, it's just some of the like Gregory Polanco's not hitting good, and just some of the guys you think would be hitting good. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and if they have a lead, they're gonna blow it. Then they get a chance to come back, a guy on second with no outs, something to tie the game up, and they get nothing. It's just like you know exactly what's gonna happen before it happens because they're not good. That's just where they're at, though.
Yeah, but you never know. They could have a bright future in the. I don't know what their prospect pool looks like. Obviously that guy.
They got some prospects, so we'll see. I think they're going to be well, but they ruined their team with Chris Archer trade.
I was just gonna say
that was probably the worst trade. One of the worst trades I've ever seen. And if you gave me top 10 worst trades, you'd put probably the Babe Ruth trade on there for the obvious reasons, and you'd probably have that Pirate trade on there.
Yeah,
that's how bad it is.
Sure.
I mean, you got rid of Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow for Archer, who's had like a 6 ERA since he's been there. And he's not really a good pitcher when he wasn't there.
No. Yeah, you figure he was going to be probably a one guy for the Pirates, but really, after their prospects came up, really a 2 or 3 guy, and he's not even that.
Look at that team. Look at the guys we just named. Add Glasnow, add Meadows. Then you have Polanco, Bell, Kevin Newman, Brian Reynolds, Adam Frazier, Brian Hayes, Cole Tucker, Trevor Williams.
Yeah.
James Italian.
Yeah.
You had your issue with Felipe Vasquez. You kept trying to trade him. Well, not trying to trade him. Something happened. So you kind of missed that out. And he had his issues, so you don't have him. I mean, you don't trade him. I mean, you don't trade those for Archer. I mean, you got an unbelievable team.
Yeah.
You're probably in a hunt right now.
Yeah.
Because those 2 guys really make a difference.
Yeah. Especially because the whole Central's in the hunt. Really, the whole NL Central's in the hunt. So, what the hell?
Yeah. Colin Moran even, a nice player they have.
Yeah.
They have a decent, that trade's terrible. It just set them back a ways. It set them back like 5 years. I would say at least 3 years. I'm saying 3 to 5 years it set them back winning to becoming a competitive winning playoff bound team.
Well, we'll see what happens with them. It sucks they didn't have this season, nowhere near the season they wanted. So we'll see what happens to them in the future. Yeah. So you want to move on to who's hot and who's not? Talk about some of the hot cold players of the week?
Sure. Go ahead and start us off with some of the guys you got.
All right. So, there was a lot of guys that I saw that were hitting in the 300s, 400s, and it's kind of hard to pick all the guys to put on the hot list. There weren't as many cold guys, but the guys that were cold. So it was kind of easy picks there. So number one guy I got on my who's hot list is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Kind of been hitting good really all season. He's just a great player. We've gotten to watch him. Obviously, the Yankees playing the Blue Jays 10 times. So, but he batted .407 in the last week. .407 on base with a 1.222 OPS. So he had a good week. Luke Voigt just continues his hot streak. Really, his whole year has been a hot streak, except for maybe a week or two. He's batting .385 on the week with 5 homers and 12 RBIs. He's still currently the home run leader in the AL. And number 3, his buddy, DJ LeMahieu, our friend and yours.
Of course.
He won Player of the Week. He batted .423 over the last week, with a .516 on base and a 1.555 OPS. I mean, he doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop.
No.
He's unbelievable. Number 4 is Jose Ramirez, a little back on the hot streak here. Batted .423 over the last week with a .423 on base and a 1385 OPS.
I believe he had 2 home runs yesterday.
Yeah, yep, he did. So good for him. Jose Ramirez, one of those hot and cold players. So good to see that he's on kind of the right side of the ball right now.
Sure.
And for number 5, Jose Abreu, another guy who's just been good all year. He's just been super solid.
The MVP debate.
Yeah, for sure. I'd have to look at stats as the year finishes, but he'd probably get my vote.
Well, no, you're voting for Luke Voigt.
I'm voting for Luke Voigt. But, come on. Jose Abreu is awesome. And LeMahieu. So,
yeah.
And Trout. Come on. It's Trout.
Right, Rendon's having a good year. So,
that's true.
But no, I think Voigt and Abreu's. Abreu's got to.
Yeah.
Abreu's got to be in there. But I think the way, I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. So I'm not going to get in. Maybe we'll do an episode. Maybe a part of it next week. But,
yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how the stats finish out. You still got a week. These guys could not get hit the rest of the week. Which they're not, but you never know.
Yeah.
All right, Jose Abreu batted .462 on the week with a .517 on base and a 1402 OPS, so just a fantastic week. I'm sure he just hit the cover off the ball too. I seen him hit a home run that it barely left the ground and it got out. It's just stuff like that. You see him, it's like what the hell.
Other guys, oh ho hum.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't even hear from him really.
No.
So those are my 5 hot guys. All hit really good this week.
Yeah. So a few that I want to throw out there. Another guy that we always talk about for some reasons beyond us talking, a story we have is Cole Calhoun.
Mm-hmm.
Big goofball, great defender, but he batted over 400 player of the week this week.
Yeah.
Travis d'Arnaud for the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good week. Salvador Perez again on the list. I think he batted 500 this past week.
Wow.
And Brandon Nimmo turning around. He was struggling for quite a while this year, but he's I think he batted like 360, 380.
Okay.
Somewhere in that area over his last 7. But yeah, so there's a few guys there who, hitting the ball pretty well. And I always throw a couple pitchers on as well. Antonio Senzatella for the Rockies. I think he had like a 1.15 ERA or something over his last 15 innings. Dilson Lamet.
Yeah, pitching great.
Liked him. Really always liked him. Talked about him before the season. What a really good pitcher there. Another one that we kind of liked, or I like at least, Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins, pitching well.
Yeah.
Big part of why the Marlins are playing pretty good this year. The next guy is Jose Barrios, or Barrios, however you really want to pronounce it. Pitching very well. I believe I don't think he gave up a run in his last start or 2 starts.
Okay.
And Corbin Burns for the Brewers. Another guy who really came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I believe he had a terrible ERA last year.
I'm not
the guy. I believe he had a terrible ERA. He got sent down, and then this year is pitching like almost in the Cy Young race.
I know. Yeah, he's been pitching good this year.
I believe that was him. But so he's been pitching really well.
Yeah, good. I mean, that's sign of the Brewers are kind of making their way up, and some of those other teams, So it makes sense, that the Brewers are kind of staying afloat, because really the Brewers, I always felt, kind of needed the pitching. They kind of always had some sort of offense, so it kind of makes sense. You got a guy like that pitching his ass off. So, all right, cool. Just a quick aside, go back to d'Arnaud. I mean, there's a guy that when he came over to the Mets was like the next big thing. I mean, he was a higher prospect than Gary Sanchez. And he comes over with Noah Syndergaard.
I believe he was even higher than Syndergaard.
He was the blue chip.
He was the one, I think, and then Syndergaard, I think, was the 2.
Yeah.
They both were good. Don't get me wrong. They both were high up.
Oh, yeah,
I believe d'Arnaud was the number 1.
I think you're right.
Syndergaard was more of the second, like 1B, and he was 1A.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I remember seeing that trade and knowing Travis d'Arnaud as opposed to Syndergaard.
Yeah, and he just doesn't... He couldn't throw nobody out for the Mets.
No.
The Mets pitching didn't help. But that one year they went to the World Series, you didn't throw a guy out from like June to the rest of the season. They never threw a guy out of second base, stealing.
Yep.
And it always hurt.
Yeah, that's
just part of the Mets. And he left the Mets to play with the Rays and was batting 300, and plays with the Braves and he's batting 300.
That's the point I wanted to bring up. It's just something in the water.
But I think he just can't play full time. He can't quite be that. Like, he does starting catcher. He's gonna get all the at bats. Maybe he gets 3/4 of the at bats, but he can't be all the at bats because he does struggle and he will get hurt.
Yeah,
it's like a backup. Like Romine with the Yankees. You play him for 3-4 days, fine. He's your starter for 2-3 weeks. You see why he's a backup.
Yeah,
that's what they always said last year. I always bring it's a good example to see. But he's kind of like that, where it's like you can start him most of the time, but you don't want to start him all the time because he will get hurt, or you'll see his struggles.
Yeah,
if you kind of start him more sparingly, 3/4 of the time, 65%, 70% of the time, you'll get more out of him.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you definitely see that with the production out of the catching spot for the Braves. So it makes sense. Well, why don't we move on to the cold players, the not players for the week? Number 1 guy I got is Andrew McCutchen. Again, I believe on the cold list. I believe he was on it last week after having a red hot week. So he batted 129 last week, the 270 on base, 593 OPS. So not ideal for the Phillies, who are kind of trying to vie for that one of the last wild card spots. Number 2 is Brad Miller. Batted 138 over last week, the 265 on base, 541 OPS. I believe he's still got a ton of home runs this year, Brad Miller. I'm pretty sure he has like...
Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got like, 14 if I had to guess. I don't know, 12, something like that.
Probably.
Tyler O'Neill's number 3, batted 148 over last week, 226 on base, 633 OPS, which actually is the highest average out of these cold players, which is funny. Number 4 is Mark Kanya. For the A's, batted 120 in the last week, 214 on base, so 454 OPS. Really, it seems like the A's players they keep winning, but it seems like when you look at their stats, they just get the hits when they need them, it seems.
It's the A's.
And the last guy, who actually has been having a good year, surprisingly, are the Orioles, DJ Stewart. Had a 120 average, 267 on base, a 547 OPS last week. But, DJ Stewart, a guy, I don't even know if we've talked about him much on the show, but he's actually, he's done pretty good over the course of the year. I believe he started ice cold, but he's kind of come out of that, and kind of a big reason the Orioles were kind of somewhat in the hunt for a lot of the year. Yeah.
The few guys I want to mention, I wanted to bring up a few guys, some bigger name guys, just because you don't really expect to see them on these lists.
Mm-hmm.
My number 1 guy is Kyle Lewis Struggling to bat under 200. Probably rookie of the year in the AL, right? Got to be either one or two.
Yeah,
not voting.
Gotta be.
Michael Conforto, he was playing great all year. He's been cold recently. Fernando Tatis had a slow week. Ronald Acuna, another huge superstar, had a slow week.
Yeah.
And another one, Francisco Lindor, another guy with a slow week. So those are some real big names. I just want to throw out to guys who you expect. Maybe their worst weeks are in the low 200s, not 200 or 170. Like, oh, they had a bad week, bad 225. Like, oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's if that's what your cold week is, you can live with it.
Because your hot week's gonna be 450, or your month's gonna be 400.
Yeah, and maybe in the example of Tatis, the rest of the lineup's hot, so what does it matter? They can pick you up while you're.
Yeah, or he's gonna play great defense, or still gonna get on base and steal base when if he's on base, he's stealing or something crazy like that.
Yeah, sure.
Some pitchers not pitching well. Madison Bumgarner, he recently came off of the injury list, not pitching great at all. Devi Garcia got smacked around his last start.
Yeah, against the Red Sox.
Yeah. Aaron Nola. So the Phillies are trending the wrong way.
Yeah.
Record not going great. One got hurt. A couple of guys not playing well. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Josh Hader, I believe he had a 5-year ERA over his last 7 games or over the last 7 days. I think it was like his last 3 outings. I think he has like over a 5-year ERA. And Seth Lugo got really beat up trying to kind of be like almost like not really an opener, but like a short starter with the Mets.
Yeah.
I believe he had like 6 runs, 1 start, and he had 3 runs, another start. So they're not really pitching great for the Mets. But there's some pitchers there. I just want to note, say that they're not pitching great.
Yep.
Because some of these numbers, if you go look at them, they're over the last 7 days and over the last 2 starts or so, not been great.
Yeah. Like we always say every week, you can kind of see the trends. You see a lot of Phillies players all of a sudden cold or hurt, and you see them kind of go in the wrong direction. So it makes sense,
Yeah. So some other news I just want to throw out there before we, go to our trivia question, as always. I believe the Brewers had 1 positive COVID test at their alternate site. Nobody else. I believe it was 1 player. It might even just been a staffer, but it was only 1. So that's good. We haven't really heard much in the COVID front, which is really good. The next thing I want to throw out there, Pujols did pass Willie Mays.
Yep,
the other day. He had 2 home runs, 661 and 662. That actually gave him 5th place on the all-time home run list, and it also gave him his 60th multi-home run game. I believe it makes him the 8th player to have 60 or more. Aroldis Chapman's appeal for throwing the ball over, I don't even remember the guy's name.
Brousseau.
Brousseau, yeah. For the Rays, it was a 3-game suspension. He appealed it. It took a long time. The reasons were apparently they can't get the people who they needed to get together in a short time. Probably because of COVID and some other travel issues. So that's pushed off till next year.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. And the last piece of news here I just want to throw out there, which I thought was just weird, was the Nationals. They have the same record they did last year at this time through this amount of games. They were 19-31 last year. I believe they're 19-30, so they're 1 loss off. They'll probably lose tonight and just be the same record. But so they're about the exact same spot they were last year. So it just tells you how 60 games really throws it off, because last year they were terrible and then they won the World Series. Yeah. And there's no terrible and then win the World Series. It's just terrible this year. There's no time for win the World Series part. Yeah, you go from being at this point and then going on to win the World Series to being this bad and just finishing in the basement. So that's so crazy how things work. So I just want to throw that out there as a little side note. Yeah, that's cool. Not cool for Nat fans, but cool for baseball. He just won a World Series, so they'll be like, "Oh, we could be bad again for a little while. We'll be fine." Yeah. So let's get to the trivia question. Sure. So this one, I didn't really know where to go. Usually I try, keeping it somewhat relatable to the season or what happened recently or something. So this one I just kind of pulled out anywhere. And that is, what is the most innings pitched in one game by one player? I had no idea. Yeah, and that is 26 innings. 26 innings pitched in one game by one player. And the funny thing about it, it was May 1st, 1920. Not like 1890, where you really, really kind of expect it, or like 1906 or something. That's what I thought. 1920, which is still makes sense, but you're like, oh, okay. Not like 1906, where they were throwing like 510 innings a year. Yeah. But it was just weird because on May 1st, 1920, the pitchers were Leon Cadore versus Joe Oshgeyer, Oshengire, whatever, Oshgeyer, some weird name. Kadori pitched for the Robins, which are now the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And good old Joe, leave his name to that, pitched for the Boston Braves. They pitched 26 innings each against each other.
It's insane.
So they have the record. They tied the record with each other. So the two pitchers who did it against each other.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, and the game was called before the 27th inning for a tie because of, I believe it was darkness.
It was, I was gonna say it was probably because they didn't have lights. I don't think a lot of the stadiums had lights back then, so they're probably like, "Hey, we can't see."
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, your arm is it's off."
Yeah,
it's literally tying your shoe without bending down. It's so long now.
I'd like to see their pitch count for that game, each of them.
Yeah,
I mean, how many pitches could have been thrown in 26 innings
they
times
only
two?
had 7 strikeouts in each.
So yeah, a lot of contact. Or who knows how many did they have walks? I mean,
I didn't see that, but
they probably walked like 10 people.
At the point, they were just throwing right down the middle. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm done.
So, but yeah, they both pitched 26 innings each. So that's the record, 26 innings, and those are the two pitchers.
Yeah, again, one of those questions where I started guessing. I was like, do I know them? And you were like, no. Yeah. So I stopped guessing.
Imagine pitching 26 innings.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy pitches 26 innings.
Yeah.
You hold the record, and you didn't even get a win.
Yeah.
Or you didn't even get a decision. You didn't even get a loss.
Yeah.
You like it never happened. You didn't help your team at all.
Yeah.
You guys split a win, essentially.
I think there's
So you blew your arm out
yeah.
forever, and you did nothing. That's if you really want to break it down, that's essentially what happened.
Yeah.
26 innings, and you're like, wow, thanks, you got us half a win and half a loss.
Yeah, thanks, guy.
Yeah, you really, pitched the lights out there.
Yeah.
Actually pitched the lights out because the light went out.
Yeah.
And they were like, you got to go home.
We've got to reconvene.
Yeah.
No, I think that reminds me of I can't remember the players or the circumstances, but I think there was a story where a guy threw or had a perfect game or a no-hitter going into like the 12th or 11th, 12th, 13th or something, and he gave up the no-hitter by giving up a home run, or he gave up a run and they lost the game or something like that. It's like, how much more do you want from me? How much more do you want, guy? like, come on, guys, get me one run. One.
I believe there was a game Cy Young did something like he pitched like 19 innings and they won 1-0 and he scored the run. Like he hit an RBI or he hit a home run or something like that. And I believe it was a story along those lines. But that's, I mean, you just pitch and pitch and pitch, and that's just what you did. You never came out. There was no bullpen. Yeah.
And I think the bullpen pitchers, if I'm not mistaken, were kind of like guys that were just relegated to, like, you didn't want to be part of the bullpen because you were kind of the bastard children of the pitching corps. Like you weren't good enough to be in the starting rotation, kind of that thing. You know, because closers weren't a thing. It was you pitched until your arm fell off. You know.
Yeah, right here. May 1st,
Literally.
1920. These guys pitched 26 innings each.
Yeah.
And they got nowhere.
The live crowd saw it.
Yeah. And they tied. But, you know, you go to the game, watch the game.
Yeah.
Who won? You were there all day. Nobody.
Nobody won.
Nobody won.
It was a tie.
Yeah.
Wasted my money. Wasted my time.
Wasted my time. Yeah, I was there at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock start, and you ended at 8 o'clock because of the sun.
Yeah.
The sun's like, I'm going home. Like, we got to pack it up. And you get nowhere.
It's awesome.
And then they probably, came out the next day and played. And then probably a day after that, they probably pitched again.
Yeah. Probably.
Against each other.
Yeah.
Probably a series. They probably pitched game 1 and game 3. They're like, please, let's go, like, maybe 10 this time? Let's be 12 innings?
Yeah.
13, not 26?
Yeah, let's maybe at least do half.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's play 3.
Yeah. Let's finish one. It's crazy. So, just a completely different game. A completely different game. It's 2 different games.
Mm-hmm.
That's how baseball was. It's literally 2 completely different games.
Yeah.
From about, like, I don't know, 50, 55, 60. For anything before that was, there's like a split there. You can kind of see it, got a gray area where it's kind of like old school and newer, but right around that 50s area, it's just 2 completely different games.
Oh yeah.
You just pitched every day, blew your arm out, and now you pitch 3 pitches, and they're like, you pitched the best ever.
Yeah.
So just crazy.
That's why there's so many records, like Cy Young's record, though, that's never be broken.
No.
You just can't. It won't ever happen.
No.
You know, you could say that with certainty.
Yeah.
You know.
It'll take 3 pitchers. You'll be lucky to get 3 pitchers that have 511 wins.
Yeah, you're right.
Get 383 losses.
Lucky to get that many losses out of pitchers anymore.
Lucky to get that many starts.
Yeah, it's true.
Starts 380 times. You're like, yeah, all right. We'll take them.
Yeah.
So, that's it. That's a trivia question.
Cool. All right, well, that's all I got for this week. So is there anything else you want to bring up or anything you want to mention going into the last week?
just keep an eye on the stats for some some awards, MVP and stuff like that. That should be pretty crazy. NL,
yeah,
I think could get a little wild here, and we'll see about these 3-game series.
Yeah,
Coming up, but the season could change here in 1 week, and I think mostly we're looking at the NL and really the awards coming up. I think that's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah.
And the only thing other than that is since today's Monday, Raiders are playing. So go Raiders. They better beat the Saints. But the Raiders playing the Saints. First game in Vegas.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Forgot about that.
Yep, nobody's gonna be there.
I saw that stadium. I went to Vegas before the whole COVID thing, and I saw a it's intimidating. Even it wasn't quite complete yet, but it's all black and it's
the whatever from Star Wars they call it.
Oh, the
Death Star.
I was gonna say the Death Star. Yeah.
So that's where it's at with no fans, but their first game in Vegas. So that's my team. So I'll be rooting for them. They'll be coming on here in an hour or so. So hopefully they win. So yeah, that's pretty much it though.
Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna go and watch some baseball, and then watch some football and kind of relax. So that's all we got for this week. Until next week, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify and Google Podcasts as well as Apple Podcasts. You can listen to this on a regularly updated YouTube channel as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.